Hello everybody, and welcome to another video of Jeremycrazy's Pro Wrestling Sim series on Pro Wrestling Sim. This is the second episode of it, and I know I may have mentioned that in this series we'll see the whole, hey, let's book a show together and everything, but for the first show to see how it goes and everything, I pre-booked it already. Because I added more superstars. Because if what I was planning was to do 10 minutes of each storyline, so to speak, with adding tag teams and everything else, and it ended up coming out to be 70 minutes. Now, the max, or the minimum that I needed was 120. Like, yeah, you could make it 20-minute matches and everything else, but within this early in the game mode and everything, you're like, they're struggling for breath and everything else, so I don't want to tire them out completely, and eventually, their stamina's going to increase and everything, so just overall, and also figuring out who they truly are, that I had to add more superstars, and I have a healthy balance between heels and faces, and as you can see to the left, I did end with 10 and 10, and you can see that there's 18 heels and 16 faces. Now with storylines and everything, perfect fit. I was able to work everything out between singles competitions and tag team competitions to get an even match with storylines, because there's 7 males and 5 or 6 females. So there's plenty of storylines going on right now with every single superstar that I am using. And they all have 5-year contracts. So with Taro Morita, that has the 1,825 days, which is 5 years from now. Everybody has it, and everyone's in the lower mid-card to start off with, and they're going to work their way up, like I kind of mentioned in my last video. And I know I've mentioned, or if I didn't, that this whole thing was going to be, booking together, getting the superstars. We got some of the superstars together, yes. I didn't want to bore the rest of the video of, hey, getting the rest of the superstars and just looking at them and everything. Not everything came out as planned. I could have simulated the next day and grabbed some more superstars that could have better popularity within North America, but with some of them with overall marketability and everything, most of them, they weren't with that high overall in the North American population. Like, some of them have zeros, some of them are even in the single digits. And so I knew within what I've mentioned was the whole product or whatnot get the highs overall within that high popularity, but I also wanted to keep them within 19 to 21 range. That way they're young and they can be used more kind of risky, as you could see a health body compared to like maybe a 40, 50, or even a 30-year-old sometimes. But I wanted 18 to 21, but mostly it's 19 to 21 range. There may be some exceptions to some of them that were like 26, 25, but I think majority of them I got that are 19, 21, or even all of them. So we are going to simulate to the next Monday, because of every Monday, if you've watched my other series, every Monday is kind of like a health thing, where we are testing the superstars for steroids, hard drugs and soft drugs, and all that other fun jazz. So we got 6 emails. Why did he leave? We'll have to figure that out, because that kind of sets things off when it comes to a tag team that I already had. Soft drugs. We're gonna talk calmly. Okay, good talk. Harris Wilson. Soft drugs. We're gonna talk calmly. Just gonna say don't get involved in my business. Steroids. Okay, we're still gonna talk calmly. We're not gonna... Soft drugs. Talk calmly to these people. Alright. So, we're gonna go to the news. So he's signed a written contract with... So that messes everything up. Well, that's a bummer. We're gonna go filter. We're gonna go with... No, not necessarily that. Birth dates. We've been going the base of 1999, January. So, alphabetical. So by birth date. Now we gotta kinda find one that is kinda roughly... Wow, this is a lot. There's kind of like Alfonso Gardner. But I could also be... There we go. Apply filters. That will make it a lot more easier. Or... Oh. Got Luis Terrailila. Like our other... Like our other series. Maybe we should sign him again. I think there's got to be like some base, like... auto-generated... for their toughness. We could add this guy. He's 23 years old. Anger, toughness. Let's see if there's any others. Voice community filter. I wish we could filter by... like trait, or like so we're gonna have to replace him. So far, the only toughness, love of money, want power. What does that dude again? This guy. He'll be a heal. Lower mid card. He will be badass heal. 5 years. Make him a contract. Who's that? So I'm gonna have to erase Mr. Gardner on that, and we'll go to tag teams. Oh, it just deleted them. Okay. So it's going to be Mr. Xavier, Mr. King Burks. These were called Duo. Great tag team. They all have experience of 0. So hopefully nothing else really switches. So that's how you kind of add a tag team, is you would create tag team. They pop up like with alphabetical your first person, and then you find them within your roster. That's why I kind of have written everything down. So that way it's easier to find the person who I am going to add, or if you have it on like a Excel spreadsheet or Word or something like that, it's going to be a lot easier to find than if it's like, who am I adding again? Because you could forget in like, a few minutes or so if you're doing other things. So then we're going to go back to the office. We're going to book and that match, or I think it was a match, but I'm going to look in my notes real quick, because that's going to change. Also, we're going to have to go to the storyline too, because that's probably removed. There's an angle. Okay, so I'm going to go to storylines real quick. We're going to edit this storyline because this hasn't gone through, so which is nice. So I can do that. Add worker. Save changes. Alright. So we're going to save changes. So nothing really changes in that regards. Everyone stays the same. It's only that person that got removed. So then you go back here where they plopped right there. So I'm going to add angle. Add a story beat. So if you were to, as you can see here, I can click auto book, but whatever I've made here already is going to be deleted, because you would click auto book, you really want it auto book, it'll auto book, and it'll be based off of like your agents, so to speak, or the owner or the booker would want to write the show, and it would erase everything that you've done prior to that. Adding a match. Click on add a match. You drag and drop your people. You can drag and drop them as a tag team or as a opponent. You can add match gimmicks, which I have match gimmicks that you can create in the gimmick maker on the database. You can change referees, because I have 2 referees. I just have 2. I could just keep the one that's at 100. Your announcers, I have 4. Probably to minimize costs and everything, probably would go down to 2, or even 1. But I want to have overall variety with 2 males and 2 females, to entertainment levels different, build them up, so to speak. So then you can have a winner, or you can have it auto, which I'm pretty much doing, or you can choose a winner, and then you can have it unspecified, or you can choose a specific loser, and keep it clean, or like have a cheating, like a BS finish, a count out, a disqualification, or a BS finish, cheating, I don't know, brass knuckles or something like that. So, and the match purpose, is it going to steal the show? Is it going to make someone look good? Is it supposed to embarrass somebody? Is it supposed to make people laugh, make history? Any agent notes, elaborate, entrance, major spot, chaotic. And then the time, your max is 90 minutes to, 1 minute. And you can add notes and everything else. And then obviously save match, you would add into it, and cancel. Now we're going to add angles. So you can go into teams to make it easier, but the Ryder and Kiwa is not a team, so we would have to add them individually. But we're going to cut promos. So it's going to be Badass Duo that are heels. Cutting a promo on Kiwa. And we go down to Ryder. 5 minutes. Say beat. And then they're going to cut a promo. It's going to be Ryder. Kiwa. On Badass Duo. We're going to make them 5 minutes. Say beat. Let me save the angle. And whenever you add something, it automatically goes to the end, and then you can click on it and then drag and drop it where you need it. So I think that was there because I kind of keep it kind of matched up with matches and angles to kind of go in between. This kind of show, I kind of went overall marketability, and also who's going to be towards, going towards the heavyweight title, and who's going to be going towards like the mid-card titles and stuff like that. So overall, it may change throughout time because like right now, we have 136 that are possibly coming. There is sports. There's the small room that only allows 100 people, but it costs of 300. But since we're gonna have more than 100 expected, as a random number expected to come, I put it up to the small local small sports hall, which is 500 people. I could scale it down to the smaller room. That way we for sure get 100 people per time, and that it would be sold out every single time. But I want to see how much we can kind of get when it comes to the local sports hall, since we're projected 136 right now. But when I cancel, because if you move stuff, it will change. Like if I were to do that, it'll be 124. When I move it back, it'll be 116. So it ranges and changes. So it's just a projected or a potential that it could necessarily happen, but it may not, or it may go above it. So we'll see what kind of score we'll get and everything. And if hopefully nothing else changes, we won't have to change anything. And finances already dipping already. I wonder why. Maybe because we had to pay. Oh, it's probably because of since Alfonso Gardner moved promotions, we paid out his contract for that month, and that was his wage. So it sucks that happened, that we're down more of a hole in that way, but we'll move forward to the 25th, or we'll simulate 7 days, because then boss Kofi, I have other plans for you, so I'm going to reject it. It's Tuesday, so we'll simulate 6 days. We got 6 emails. Title match request. Linnell for March. Gonna reject it because I don't know what my plans are. So it's basically all soft drugs or whatnot. So do I just not do anything? Or talk calmly again? I don't know. Alright, I'll cut being understanding. Aaron Willis, I'll talk calmly again. Okay, good talk. Talk calmly again. I'm just gonna talk calmly because it's like not that big of a deal. Unless if it becomes the steroids. Steroids, okay. Last chance. Whatever, man. Okay. Man, whatever you say. And talk calmly. So it seems like no matter what, soft drugs, you could be like, what? You're gonna fire me because I'm smoking marijuana? Like, it is what it is. Because that's what a couple of responses are. Title match request. I'm rejecting all of them right now because it literally just showed up on my show, and I don't know what to expect. So that's like 3 months away. I mean, if you leave, you leave, but I don't want you to. Oh, it's 6 days away. Okay. So we still got time yet. We'll do 5. 4. Soft drugs. We're gonna talk calmly. You're right. Okay. Steroids. We're gonna do a small fine. Understood. Alright, thank you. We're gonna just keep talking calmly. Okay, so it looks like Aaron Willis doesn't really care at all, which is fine. 2-3 days. Oh. Quit Kofi. Rejecting it because I have other work with you. Yeah, he's working with other people, so. Or he's working with someone else in an active storyline. That's roughly his popularity. So today's the day. So we're still down. And before, let's see if there's any event histories. So Impact, New World Japan, AEW, Ring of Honor, and WWE have already done their shows. So Impact did 198. They did a sports hall, which I'm doing. So we got Nico Shepard. They literally had 4 matches. Or, yeah, 4 matches. What the heck? I wonder if I'm doing too big of a show right away. They had 2 the same. They had 4 matches themselves. And then they had 5. Oh, Roderick Riley's. Oh yeah, we signed Roderick Riley because he was pretty well known and he was signed with them. Nathan Williamson also signed with them. They had 5 matches themselves. Okay. I wonder what would be nice if you could see like their financial situations and see what they can do. I think you can see if we were to go to all promotions, like their stats when it comes to this and everything. Probably we'll see it next month, because it looks like it hasn't grown after their event, but we'll probably see it next month. Otherwise, book event, we're already done booking, and like I said, I mentioned 10 minutes for the angles and 5 minutes for the matches. So we're gonna start the show and hope for the best. Confirm. So start off with a storyline of Lila McConnell versus Eileen Baylor. It's kind of like their gimmicks are musical performer of Lila and comedy character of Eileen Bauer. And it'll give you some stats in this as well, that Lila had a boost of her gimmick, her performance because of her gimmick, the star power, and the intimidating presence of Lila added to the match. So all 3 of those added to the match. The star power of Eileen added to it. The backstage morale meant that the workers were not performing at their best. The vocal crowd were in love with it. Lila did most of the heavy lifting, to putting the match story together. The stage looked good. Camera quality, limits to the satisfaction. Lila gained 0.2 in popularity, and Eileen Bauer lost 0.1. They had a -1 match quality, but they had a absolute calculation of 42%, and then the true score segment was 41, but due to these factors, it's a 30% final score. And like I may have mentioned in the last episode, that if we get like a 70% score or higher, there's like an incentive bonus that we're kind of doing from the last, the kind of last series or the other series, is that if we get 70%, we'll get $250,000 for like a sponsored promotion ship, and 0.05 added to our score, and also to another segment or another region of ours, not to an opponent, because they already have a 5 score head start to us, so we can add it to like Africa and stuff like that, and Asia, Europe, and all that stuff. So we would add it to us, but not to an opponent, because they already have, an advantage. So, Rini Takashi and Ellie Thompson, they kind of put a promo on each other. Rini had a 46-54 for Ellie, and 50% score overall. Okay. This isn't going too well. We have another storyline of Hamish Johnston had a boost of his gimmick. The backstage morale meant that the workers were not performing well. Vocal crowd were in love with it. Lachlan won. They had a -2-star match at a 26% match quality, 58% of absolute value, and the true segment score is 42, but a 30% overall. Hamish lost 0.1, and Lachlan gained 0.2. So we got 54, so higher than a 50, of Lucia Fowler and Coyote Wanabe. Lucia cuts a promo, and Coyote cuts a promo on each other. So the arrogant gimmick of Lucia very well, and the good looks of Lucia. Kaio, good looks of Lucia, added to the story beat. And so 56 for Lucia and 52 for Kaio. We have faces that run the place, and money is life. So we have the millionaire gimmicks, and we have wholesome faces. And it seems like money is life sent it to the wholesome faces' face. It was a dud. It's a 33%, so we're getting up there. We went from 30, now we're at 33. True segment score of 46, the dud, so nothing. And then we have a true absolute calculation score of 46. Seems like backstage morale is not working well with these people. So, Jaime or Jamie, but I think it's Jaime, and Kevin had a boost of their gimmick. They have pretty bad chemistry as a team, so that's good to know, which hurt the match slightly. Jaime did the heavy lifting. Henry and Naeem lost point 1, and then point 2 added to Jaime and Kevin. So overall, and then the vocal crowd were in love with the segment and everything, so that's not looking too good so far. Okay, so we got Flynn Allen and Nathaniel Williamson. They gain point to each other. They're cutting promos with each other. I wonder if I should have split this up instead of putting it all together, and have it more of a 2-score thing. But 62 overall score. Flynn Allen had a 74% score, and Nathaniel had a 50% score. Just cut a promo on each other. Start off the storyline. And we got, Aaron Willis versus Tama Murphy. Aaron Willis wins. It's kind of like he's wanting to prove himself that he should be in the contention of the heavyweight title, but for my purposes, I don't have him going for the heavyweight title for right now. You'll eventually find out who does, but he is not in that contention. It's kind of, build him up, try to do what he can to win this storyline, and let out his frustration, so to speak, because he has a heel, so to speak, character. So he gains point 2 from it. Tama Murphy loses point 1. Backstage morale were not work. Seems like everyone that I picked together are not working well with each other. Vocal crowd were in love with the segment. Aaron, Willis have decent chemistry as opponents. Oh, that's good to know. Probably write that down. For like notes and stuff. That what is it? Money is Life doesn't work well together, but they were able to strive. I just gotta flip my page to my notes, write it down real quick. Money is Life. Chemistry as teammates. Kevin and Jaime. And then Aaron, Willis, and Tim Murphy. Decent opponents. Alright, wrote that down. That way I have it as in notes and know when it comes to chemistry wise that who can work with who. Zarin Willis and stuff like that. They work decent as opponents. Stage camera quality. This is the same throughout the whole entire thing. And if you know, within the other series, it's the same thing. So, kind of don't want to annoy people with stage quality was good, but not quite at world caliber camera quality, because it's kind of the same thing that I've started within this series as well. So, 19% match quality with a negative 2.5 star. True segment score was 42, and we had a 66 calculation of 100%. We got a 50% on this one, where Xavier was added kind of last minute due to Alfonso Gardner got sent to Ring of Honor because he signed a written contract with them. I didn't think they were going to be able to sign written contracts because you had to be in a cult following size, and that's like roughly at a 30 per zone, so they're able to get it done. So they all gain 0.2, and the star power of King Burks added to the story beat, and then the musical performer gimmick of Kua Morales added to the story beat, and star power of King Burks. So 50% overall. The true segment score of 64. Due to entertainment and all that other fun jazz added to the mix. We have a negative star match of 33, 72%, 38% with the true of 53. So we have the funny duo of Allison and Kupaki, because they are comedy character gimmicks. And then we have Armani and Ellen going together. The intimidating presence of Allison Ray added to it. Ellen Garcia had a boost of her gimmick. The backstage morale, everything. Vocal crowd were in love with the segment. Armani did the heavy lifting, and Allison Ray didn't lose anything. Kibuki lost 0.1, and then Armani and Ellen, since they won, they gained 0.2. So we're on to the next segment, and we're at a 35 for this one, with tag teams of Jada Costa, Mackenzie Herman, and Linnell and Noah. They all gained 0.2, 32 and 38 were the scores. Jada Costa, Mackenzie Herman, with the looks of Jada Costa added to both of them. So, and overall, we have Megan Pyers and Lily Martin, who had a half-star rating match of 51% quality, true segment of 51, and true value, the absolute value of 51 as well. Lily Martin gained 0.2. She won. She did the heavy lifting, star power of Megan, and then the intimidating presence of Lily, backstage morale, and camera and stage quality. Then we have the angle of Dallas Jones and Kofi. Dallas Jones didn't gain anything. Kofi gained 0.2. Kind of make their entrance. Oh. I did not mean to put an attack. I was meaning to cut a promo. But that works too. Kofi is showing his dominance to Dallas Jones. And got a 39% on that. So that will be pretty interesting on what their storyline moves on in the future. There's no star power or anything to it, so 41% on the first one of him making his entrance, 59% on Kofi making his entrance. Dallas cuts a promo on Kofi, it's 33%, and Kofi attacked Dallas for 40%, so overall, the 39% with the true score of 51. Then we had the main event of Roderick Riley added, star power added, and Liam Bailey had a boost of his gimmick 44%, 1-star match of 55, and the true score of 63. These guys were like the most marketability, meaning like if there were any merchandise and everything, like these guys would be the best, profit. You would make the most profit off of these guys. So I put these guys in the main event, even though everyone's like a lower mid card at this point. So Roderick Riley won. He gains 0.2. Liam Bailey lost 0.1. The star power of Roderick. And Roderick did the heavy lifting. Liam Bailey had a boost of his gimmick in the star power of Liam. Backstage morale wasn't working well. The vocal crowd and the stage and camera overall. And end the show probably wasn't the greatest. At a 54%, not bad for a first show. So I also have a thing that I'm doing to write down event logs. And we gained 0.6. I am also doing different settings than I am doing on the other show or the other series, of like everything's kind of like slowly gaining up. And didn't really do a cult following, and cult following, like, it ranges. You'll gain a popularity much faster until you get to 45 popularity within that region, and then it starts to taper, whether it be you lose or you gain some, and we've gained 0.6 right away. So we have a score of 54%, gained 0.6. I'll have to see how many people showed up. Go straight to 0.6. We'll see in the email. We had 131 show up. Then we had sales of 13. So we just made profit off of showing up in that sports hall, which if we're just making profit off of that, I think we might eliminate the costs and just do the $100 one until, or the $300, but the 100 room, because we that's like a quarter more people, so it's not that much. So we may use the other hall for this one. Then we'll just use the smaller room instead of the sports hall if we're just getting 25 more people showing up. That way you'll eliminate, 3/4 of the cost. So eliminates, if you divide it by 4, so $900, and that will help a lot overall. But yeah, and with overall, you only gain like 0.2, stuff like that. So we're gonna simulate. So the next day, so the 31st, title match request, Rini. Literally just had a promo, and we're gonna reject it. So you may hate me, it's all good. We're gonna simulate to the end of the month. We're in February. So we have Aaron Willis and Ellen. So we're just gonna talk calmly to these people, or we'll do a small fine again. So she understands it. Tough drugs, we're just gonna talk calmly. I don't think he's gonna quit, so let's look at financials real quick. We had $3 within merchandise right away. We had the venue of $1,200, basically gained profit of $175, $15,000 within staff wages, which is kind of roughly about the other series as well, and then $600, and we don't have any sponsorship money yet. Minus 600, so we're down 615. So I'm not gonna futz with any of the production stuff or anything, because I don't want to lose that much money down that quick. But it's showing that it's big, but overall in reality it's going to be a lot slower down and everything else. But other than that, we'll get prepared for the next show, everything. So it may be flipped on who's in an angle will be in a match, or they may do another angle and maybe more elaborated, and stuff like that. Who knows? But I think what I might do is flip them. So who was in an angle this time around will be in a match next time around, and then whoever was not in a match will be in a match. So that way we can kind of gear towards what is what and then kind of separate them. And so that way it can actually get kind of a true score instead of all of it kind of condensed and be like, oh, this person got this and that person got that. It probably helped the event score a little bit, but having a 54 event score is not that bad for a first show, especially if we go to event histories. Impact had a 21, 29, 32, 31, 34. We had a 54. So having the most out of everyone else is pretty significant. But these guys are having like 5 matches and that's it. I wonder if they're doing a lot smaller promotions. So we had a 4, they had a 4, they had a 4, they had a 4. Public image. Where do I go? Events. Oh, they're doing 2 hours. So what? They're having 5 matches? They're having like 20-minute matches? They're having 2 hours. They're having 2 hours. They're having 2 hours too. Then WWE, 2 hours. They're only having 5 matches? I mean, it probably eliminates cost because then it's like 10 superstars and that's it. But it's like you would want to have some variety. That way you have some angles and all that other fun jazz. So, especially with the superstar that we are having combined with for like my roster, especially when it comes to... Where is he at? I think we have 2 that are signed with WWE. Like him, he's a WWE heavyweight champion and he's on my promotion too as well. So you could be going for the main title, but he signs a contract with WWE, but it's a pay per appearance one. But everyone went after him. Ring of Honor did, AEW, WWE, and he signs a contract with WWE. And everything else. Like, yeah, if I were to want to make him a written contract because he's a 99 star power, that he would be wiped out of WWE and that heavyweight title would be vacated, meaning no one would have it, and they would have to put it on someone else. So I didn't want to put the titles on right away, kind of give people a match or a promo. And as you can see with all these percentages like King Burks and stuff, they have a 50% based off of their last event score. So all these event scores were based off of their match scores or angle scores. So appreciate you watching to the end of this video, and have a good rest of your night, day, wherever you are, and peace out.